Okay, guys. Hi. This is Mark Black, and this is Mark Teaches Music, and you're at my Improv Workshop, and then later on we'll have our Q&A to play and sing. Uh, can y'all hear that sound? I can hear my computer running, but I can't tell if I hope no one else can hear it. But regardless, the fan is not running. So anyway, today is the first day of August 2023, and I want you to have fun and be awesome. There was a skit with Arnold Schwarzenegger on Saturday Night Live back, I guess it was in the 70s, and it was a skit with him and two of the other guys of the troupe, and they were in muscle suits, fake, and they had the skit was a show. And I want to pump you up, and every time I say you're at my improv workshop, and I want to say I want you to have fun and be awesome. So in the improv workshop, we're trying to get better at adlibbing and improvising and making up great melodies. And I know that you can do it, and you can do very simple things, and you can do intermediate things like I'm doing. So we're trying to get better. And so for information about lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com. And if you have questions, man, you need to put them in this chat thing down here. And then if you see this after this is over, you can send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. So we're not just ad-libbing, we're trying to get better. So I will stop and say things that I hope and trying to be helpful with ideas and things. And if you got a request for a style or anything like that, a different instrument that I play, you haven't seen me play the erhu recently, you can just either put that in the chat, or you can put that in your questions, or send me an email. The point is at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. And if you like this, you know that legally you're supposed to subscribe, you're supposed to hit like, you're supposed to hit notifications, and please invite other people. Send this link to other people and say, hey man, you need to come see this guy. I never saw anybody like this in my life. And if you are not a student, if you're a student, my student, you can ask me for any of these tracks. If you hear one of these tracks, these two, we're going to do 2 tracks, and you like them and you want to ad-lib to one of them, just send me an email and I will send you one of those tracks that you request. And so here's the guidelines we're going to improvise. And we're trying to do the traditional trading eights. And we're trying to, I'm playing, I don't know, we're trading, it's an unspecified amount. It may be 4s, it may be 8s, it may be 16s. The point is I'll go some measures and you go some measures back and forth. And it would be great to hear you, but I can't hear you. You can only hear me, which is, fascinating. So anyway, y'all can only hear me, and you can't hear you, so that involves a bit of safety for you. So you can, whatever you sound like, we'll just assume it was awesome. So there's links in the description here for charts, the charts of the songs, as well as, and the more important thing I think is that you would have the scales to use, and they'll be there for bass and guitar, and for any of the transposing instruments. Hey Tom, with the sunglasses. So for B flat instruments, E flat instruments, C instruments, with the scales in there, several kinds of scales. And so when we're playing, don't just sit there like a knot on a log. The point is jump in there, start playing, and if you're a vocalist, sing. And so don't wait. Usually it's better to kind of start playing and say, well, that didn't like that, try something else, and not wait until the mood hits you or just be embarrassed, because again, no one can hear you. Actually, nobody even knows you're there. So I don't mean it negatively. I'm just like, we don't even know. So and then if you got questions or comments, just go ahead and shoot them in. I mean, like you had a question like, you're saying this is in the key of A, but I'm trying the A scale and it doesn't work, or something like that. So go ahead and ask those questions, because we want to get them fixed so you can play, right with me right now. And don't be put off by styles you don't like. The first song, I've got it written as a jazz, a bossa nova, but it really comes across pretty Latin, and that I mean more like little bit folksy Latin to me. I mean, Montuno is with a bossa nova beat, so I love it, you know. But let's say you don't like it. Well, what you need to do is, because of your awesome soloing, make it great anyway. I mean, say you don't like it, but you're trying to make it great. And so the second chart, I can't remember what it is. It's something. I guess the second chart is the harder chart today, and that's the one that's the Montuno. So anyway, so the point is, if you don't like a chart, you don't like me playing on the classical guitar or whatever, which I'm going to do today, don't just try to figure out how to make it work. And that is one of the things great musicians do, is they learn from other instruments, they learn from other styles, and that's a great thing to do. So we're not really trying to maybe I need to amend it, but at the moment I'm not really trying to stick with, I'm not trying to be different for different sake, but I'm not particularly, I don't mind if we do, you know, unusual things. So anyway, so here we are, we're doing stuff, and so don't play when I play. When I'm playing, listen and think about what you want to play. You might hear something that's interesting in what I'm doing, but even if you don't, think and take, that's your chance to do what you want to do. Then when it's your turn, jump right in, don't wait. And then when you're not playing, one of the things you can do, and we're going to do this right at the first, is listen to the song and absorb the changes, by which I mean, I'm not talking about memorize the chords. You should have the chart pulled up now, and you can see the chords. The first song is entirely in the key of what? It's in the key of F. I know that's the answer. Yes, the first song is entirely in the key of F. And it's got one chord, I mean 2 beats, 1, 2. That's not in straight out of the key of F. Every chord is made from notes in the key of F. So you're just in the key of F, so you don't need to worry, but you're trying to absorb the sounds of the changes, and you're anticipating, here comes this sound. And if you do that, you can and will lean your solo towards that change that's coming up. Here comes that B flat chord. Here comes that G minor chord. So, and so if what we're doing is too hard. This first song shouldn't be too hard. It's just the F scale, B flat instrument, the G scale, E flat instrument, what did I say? A D scale. And so, anyway, so, and then if you're stuck, you should sing to get you, I'm talking about your instrumentalist, you should sing to get yourself started. And I want to give an example of that. So you're trying to figure out what to do. Here's the first song, just what it's going to sound like. I did something weird on the recording. I don't know what it was. One thing is I didn't turn it on. That helps. Let's try that. So this is, I'm going to show you singing, you instrumentalist. You're trying to, I don't know what key it's in. So here we go. Something like that. And then you start, okay, well, that was pretty good. You try to find it. You try to find how to play that thing if you liked what you sang. And that's just a way to get you started. And again, nobody can hear you. My gosh, I can't hear you. So anyway, singing Improv Pop. And if you're a vocalist, you should go through the whole song and doing that, using your voice as an instrument, and knowing that if you're a vocalist that you wouldn't sing all of that the whole time, but you're just getting a bunch of little licks, little fills. You go, yeah, baby, I love you. And you go, ba 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 ba, you're so fine. So maybe I'll give you a fine. Okay, so here's this first song, and it's named Playola. I don't know why, although I did name it. I don't know why I named it that. And let's see, we're going to go to the piano, and I'm looking at the chart. Let's pull up the chart, all of us here. Shall we pull up the chart? Yes, let's pull up the chart. Is that right? Yeah. That doesn't look like a chart. Oh, I know I need this. Where is there it is. Okay. Now, doing all this stuff in a timely fashion, just a bit difficult to pull over. There's Playola. Okay, there you go. So here's this chart right beside me. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. And my only point is, you see the chords, you got an F and you got a B flat. Let's listen to it one time. And we're watching the chords, listening. You can look at the chords, that's fine. I mean, I got them here, right? But the point is more that you are anticipating, you hear the sounds. I know the sound going to be. So we're going to listen to it all the way through. Imagine yourself playing. It's just the notes of the F scale. And there's my two note chords. There's the B flat. Here's the C. Listen to the D minor coming here. It's kind of sad. Here's the B flat. Kind of walking down, coming down, and here, turn around, go back to the top. Hear it? And there's the top. Hear it? Okay. So I'm saying all that stuff like here, no, but I'm saying your goal here is to where you can hear those sounds, and what you're playing on your instrument anticipates, fulfills, recognizes as a part of what you're doing on this song. Now let's see what is that. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to switch to this view, and you're going to get to see several things when I do this. You're going to see the back of my head. There's the back of my head. And you're going to see this ring light up there. But you do get to see my keys, and I got to check my volume here real quick. Perfect. And let's see what the volume of the track is. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna turn around here in a second. Now I don't know if this is legible. This I can hardly see it myself, but if you can see these chords. So I prefer that you be looking at a chart on your own. I just have it there just in case it's helpful. And so we're gonna start at the beginning. I'm gonna start, and I think all those volumes are fine. Let's see what this volume is like. Check, check, check. Just talking. I'm talking in my mic. Yes, I am. Okay. So y'all holler if you can't hear me well, because I'm fixing to turn around. I won't be able to tell. And here I go. Here it comes. Your turn. Sorry. Now I can hear that. There's the G minor. Keep going. F, top. Next bit. Here's the chord right there. All right, here I am. Your turn. Keep going. There's that chord here. My turn. And look, I can do those. I can play like that. Your turn. Line 3, measure 3. End of the page. Back at the top. And the B flat. There's the B flat minor. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so here's my handsome face coming from this direction. So this is the last measure on the second line. That chord is a B flat minor, which the notes are B flat, D flat, F, and A flat. Do you have to play them all? No, you can just play the B flat. If you're a B flat instrument, that would be C minor, and it'd be C, E flat, G, B flat, D. However, all you could hit one of those notes, just the B flat or the B flat and the D flat. But it's only that long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's the only thing in the whole song that's not in the key of F. So I think I'm going to jump in right here. Because the song it's got a little epic. I know my sound. Notice that the sound I'm using on the piano is a pretty epic-y. So my sound is pretty epic-y. The song is really just a pretty straightforward, really kind of an acoustic pop. It's not James Taylor, but it's kind of pleasant, happy. I'm trying to think of somebody modern, but I can't. So I love these people, but people that really love these people are going to hate me saying this, but it's like it's Carole King and Carly Simon, and that they're a little more. This is a little happier and friendlier than that. But it's just that kind of. So what I'm saying is, you can play long notes as a way to be like, this makes it sound. When I do this, I'm just skipping. Right, for me, you can see my keyboard. This is the only black key. All the other ones, all those notes are good. So I can just skip around. You can on your instrument. I just want you to see me randomly skipping, and it sounds really great. As long as I keep some sort of a thoughtful. So try that right now. Try something very spaced out, slow, long notes. Jump around. See, and make them long, like that. Go for it. Back at the top. Still you. Long notes, spaced out. Get rid of the B flat minor. Try B flat, D flat, B flat, D flat. There it is. Back to C. Now go. Your turn. B flat minor. C. Still you. So walk down to the end of the line. Yeah. Okay. My turn. I missed the Missed that. Your turn. Still your turn. Your turn. Keep going. Still you. Still you. Still you. My turn. Your turn. Keep going. Second line. The G minor. B flat, D flat. My turn. Your turn. Last measure back at the top. Still you. Your turn. Your turn. Play something epic. Something like, wow, I'm in love. That's such a beautiful sky. Use the B flat, D flat. C, keep going. B flat. A minor. G minor. C. Okay, so I want to take a second and just talk about, okay, looking at the chart now. And let me, yeah, I want to be here. So anyways, looking at the chart that you should have up. And what I wanted to point out was, now I said that my instrument, you know, if you've listened to me play before, usually I'm not using, I might use an organ sound, but anyway, this is unusual for me to have a sound like this in adlibbing on the keyboard. Anyway, so it was here. I thought it was cool. So, but I said this is an epic sound. It sounds like because of that string. Now you have ways on every instrument to sound like that. Now, can you sound exactly like that? No. If you had reverb, you could sound, depending on your instrument, you know, it could sound similar. I'm saying you have ways to make your own sound, whatever it is, including if it's a bassoon. You have a way to make that bassoon sound more
thoughtful. So, for example, just longer, holding notes out as long as, I'm not talking about at this minute, I'm not talking about a longer note. I'm just saying if you're going to go ba, ba, make it ba, ba, ba. Like how long can I make it? And that makes it seem more juicy, more meaningful. And another thing I was doing, and I know you can see my keyboard, right? Yes. So as I said, and I want to say it again. So here's this thing going, chords. It's, these are the chords. So I'm saying when these chords are going on, I'm going spreading out my notes. Now skipping around. Now I have a keyboard, right? So I have 88 keys. I have a lot more notes than most instruments have. But you have your own range of your own instrument, including your own voice. So you can go, okay. I'm talking about without preparation, without me having practiced or thought about that until this millisecond before. In other words, I'm just showing you with the voice. You have a voice, and I'm doing that. And you can do that with your instrument. What if you did that for 5 minutes? It would just be the most boring thing there ever was. But if you did it for 4 measures, 8 measures, perhaps one time through the whole song, it would be so epic. And then you could move around after that, and then you could do, you don't have to do it for, this is 16 bars. You don't have to do it for 16 bars. You can do it for 4 bars. But notice that what I want you to see, you can see my keyboard. That would be like over this chord maybe. Where'd it go? Hey, that's a large range, and I can do this. And I am intentionally going 5s. But I'm mostly trying to skip around. So I'm saying just randomly skip using the notes of the F scale, concert, G scale for the B flat instruments, D scale for the E flat instruments. If you're a guitar player or bass player and you're not really thinking the notes, you have a pattern, which I have provided there, which you probably should know. So you're, instead of walking around in the pattern, you're like, well, let me just try some of these other notes. Let me skip a note. Let me skip a bunch of notes and see what happens. And that's just a idea. And again, like I said, if we just did that the whole time, it'd be like, it would end up right about the 16 measure level at the most. It'd start being boring because it's just like, now it's predictable. We just know what this guy's doing. So, and we won't contrast. So anyway, there you go. That's Playola. I thought that was a pretty cool song. I thought that this keyboard sound added a lot. I wish I had put it in the... So when I was soloing, that added to the, etherealness, and of course cheesiness. Ethereal, cheesy, very similar. And then I couldn't resist putting that chord in to make something, different. I just couldn't leave it all, just in the key of F. But anyway, so that's a really cool, pretty song. Pretty neat. Okay, so now let's see. Now let's go to the next song. This is not correct. Turn that off. There we go. Back to me in the booth. Okay, so now this next song is called, hey, there's Cherry Black with her face. I see you there. And the next song is called something. Oh, it's called Bossa, not Mondo, Monsa. Bossa Monsa. Yes, there it is. Okay, so let's see. I want to pull that up. And this is our complicated song for the session. And let's pull that up. There it is. It's fairly complicated. Not terribly so. It just goes through, and now you should have this. You should have this pulled up. It says the name of it it's in the description, in the link in the description. And when you get there, you're linked, and one of the links says Bossa Monsa G C instrument soloed, meaning I have written the scales
out, not the notes for the scales, but the overarching scales. So, and I'm going to be playing the classical guitar just as another guitar to play on. And kind of funky sound or just weird mix of sounds. And so let me pull this up so you can see what I'm trying to show you. Oops. Oh, there you go. There it is. That's the wrong song, though. Let's get the right song. It's the wrong song. You've done the wrong song. Let us do the correct song. We don't want that one. We want... Where is it? There it is. Okay, there we go. Bossa Monsa. And so let's, can I go up? I don't think so. Maybe I can go up. Yeah, I can go up this way. I don't know how much of that comes across. But anyway, you see the lines. It says it starts in G for, this G for 3 measures. Let's get on that. See, you can see that. Oh, put a dot on. You see my little cursor? Yeah. So there's G. These are, the point is, we've said this many times, and I want this in your head, is that, so there's these chords. You don't have to know this. At the moment, you just take my word for it, because you should, man. Not really, but, you know, it's just like, well, look at that. But I want you to take my word for it for now, you know, for the short term. And the idea is only that this chord is a A, C, E, G. This chord is a D, F sharp, A, C, E. Put those together and you have every note, every note in the G scale except a B. So this, you'd start off soloing in a G right there, no matter what's your instrument. G, 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 and then right here, now there's more than one way to do this. Wait till I get going. There's more than one way to do this. And so one of the ways to do this, what I'm referring to, I'm talking about on this in other places, you get to this chord, there's more than one way to do this. So I'm saying the simplest way is to hit the notes of the chord, or hit something, you know, bum, 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 bum. You know, to hit the notes. I wrote the notes out. Now there are scales, whole, half, diminished scale. But at the moment, since I'm shooting for beginners and intermediates, I think it'd be simpler to try to just hit those notes. There they are. And then it goes back to G. I'm just showing you. Then look at right here. It's got an A harmonic minor. That chord, I should have written that out, but the program itself shrunk it down to that is an E7 with a flat 9, implying and coming from the A apple harmonic minor. Again, if you're on a transposing instrument, if you're on a B flat instrument, you need to write. Take out your pencil and bump every chord up a whole step. So this would become an A, and this would become an A sharp diminished, and this would become these scales. This would become a B harmonic. But anyway, so you see it's going through, and then right here, look, it jumps into pretty much for 6 measures the key of F. You see that? I wrote F right there. Okay, so we're going to listen to it and follow along. We're just trying to get into the coolness, the mood, the changes. Here it is. Let's see if that's loud enough. There's my A minor. There's my D. There's the G. Here comes the diminished. Listen. Second line. Yeah, I like that. There. G sharp, A minor. Mostly the G scale for these 16 measures. Here it goes to F. Jump to F now. Bang. Notice there's no F. It's just these chords implying F. Talking about F. Here comes, listen to this. Now we're back in G. I just want to make the point again about singing to prime the pump. I'm trying to encourage everybody to do that. You get stuck, you can't think of anything cool. So I would go, if I was, I'm an instrumentalist trying to get some ideas, so I go, I'm ready for the top. Here goes. Da, 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 did that much, it'd be hard to find. So just like when da 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 da, I try to find that. And let's grab a guitar and do that. Or not. So my point in using the oh my gosh, I gotta cook that up. Yeah, the point in using your ear to prime the pump, like I'm telling you, is that look, there's a guitar and everything. We're cooking with gas now, only for a little bit longer, but for right now we are. Okay, so give me that, yeah. Oh, give me that old gas stove. Give me that old gas stove. Give me that old gas stove. It's good enough for me. So, let's see. There's this. I forgot what I sang. I sang something. Went da 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 da. It wasn't that, but let's say it was. So I sing something, I say, that is pretty good what I did, that singing, not the quality of the singing, the notes I sang. And then I would incorporate that into my playing. And I do not like this picture. It doesn't go down far enough at all. And I use this camera for something or other. And I forgot what it was. Anyway, I know you can't see, but now I will allow you to see. Here we go. So I'm going to... So, I guess just by the way, you guys have got a scale. First major pattern, sixth major pattern, we do it here. Because this is sort of a jazzy song, we would like to use those. But if we didn't, we could use the pentatonic, the first pentatonic, and the sixth. This is written. The blues, the sixth blues. That would give you as many notes as any, hey Jeffrey, as many notes as any of the concert instruments have. Flute, not a flute, sax, oboe, trumpet, trombone. I don't mean that somebody who plays really well could have a lot more notes, but the average person would not. Okay, let's jump on this song. I'm first. I think this is really cool. It's got some twists. I'm going to go all the way through, and maybe I can make myself talk while I do this. Okay, let me just see how loud this is. Okay, that's loud enough. And here we go. So cool. It is. I turned it up so I can hear it better. There's a D minor 6 right there. And there's the D7. We're back at G. G, 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 G. stop. Now they're back at the top now. I should have done something to make a little bigger distinction and go back to the top. Mostly you could play this entire song with just G and F. There are little tricks, little things. I'm looking at them. The G sharp diminished, that occurs 3 times. The E7 with the flat 9, which is almost the G sharp diminished, that lasts. The G sharps last for a total of 3 measures out of 32. The E7 lasts for 2 beats, and then so outside of G, and then the starting at line 5, we're in G minor for 6 measures. We have that funky little that funky D minor 6, but then it goes back to taking us back to G. So mostly it's G and F. I'm saying you can confidently kind of go for that and not worry about those little notes, because your ear's telling you what's wrong. And one of the things, if you couldn't get to the other sounds, you didn't understand what scale to make, just play one. Just go play a wrong note. Let me get to a wrong. I'll illustrate. So here I am. I'm showing you messing up. So that's me messing up, getting someplace and I can't tell where I'm supposed to be. So slow down, play one note, and if it's wrong, the right note is always either 1 fret higher. If this note's wrong, then the right note is either 1 fret higher, 1 fret lower, 1 half step higher, or 1 half step lower if you're not playing a fretted instrument. So that's encouraging. What an encouraging thing. So I'm saying slow down, quit trying to play so many notes and move. Just find the right note. And I'm talking about when we get to these difficult to figure out at first chords. Just like they're saying, I'm on another scale, and that's okay. So let's, just for want of a starting point, let's start at the top again, and I'll start. F. Enjoy that. You're an F. And here's our D minor 6. And there's the D. Back to G, 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 me. G. Make it beautiful, make it exciting, make it fun. Even if you just play 2 notes. That's line 3. Comes the G sharp. That is so cool. Okay, now I wanted to show you, and I've said this in many of these things, but here comes the F. It starts on a G minor and a C and a C9. So again, together, just trust me for now. It's the 2-5. It's the notes of the G, F scale. So I want to play just the F scale, like in the band class. So it comes. I'm just going to play the F scale, and I want you to notice it sounds great, you know. Nobody can go, hey, wait a minute, let's just F scale. I'm just trying to back up. There we go. I got me a second. There you go. And F scale. G scale. G scale. Go. Now go. There you go. F. Sounds minor, but it ain't. Here's that B. There. And G. And I'll go. Now I'm gonna play this time because I want to get to the F part. Now go. Your turn. Go. F. I'll click it and try F. No, G still. But you got it. Your turn. Here comes the F. You got the F? backing you up, man. Okay, I'll take it. And G. Is the F minor. Okay, I'm on stop. Okay, now, the only thing I really wanted to say, first is I'm going to turn this off. Yeah. Is, I hope y'all can hear that well, the music and the instruments. Let's switch back to this picture. And there we go, normal picture. And first of all, I just thought that's just the coolest sound there ever was. And you may have liked it or not. To me, it was just hearing the guitars. I imagine normal ones tune highs. We get, it's almost shimmering, the difference in their picking single strings, a lot of it. And so we hear that as a very playing single strings as opposed to playing a lot of strings, comes across as sort of intimate, or when it's up high like that, you could say ethereal or magical, but very, it's not, we're not like the bird, word to bird. So opposite of that. And then by putting in some of these keys, let's just look at this. It's by getting us into other keys. Again, a chord is typically a chord is a part of a key. All of that is the same key. They're not using any notes that aren't in the key. These are different chords, but they're all in the same key. They're all using the same notes, so we can join those. Now, another way and just by the way, and you might be that kind of person, or you might have been taught that way or heard that way. So we could look at each of these, each chord as a kind of chord, and say, hey, well, that's a minor chord. Let's do Dorian minor. That's a dominant chord, more or less. Let's do Mixolydian. That's a major 7 chord. Let's do Ionian. And yeah, it's just that if you add the A Dorian, D Mixolydian, and G Ionian, hey, that's the G scale all the way through. And yeah, when you hit the A minor, when you hit this sound, hear that? So pretty. Okay, I don't hear anything. Why not? It's not on. That would be it. When you hear this chord, there's the A minor. We hit the A minor, yeah, the ba. That's out of the G, notes of the G scale. That's the A. That's the A minor. The A, E, A, E. The A and the E sound the strongest. When we hit this out of the G scale, D, A. You hear the D and the A is the strongest, and when we get to the G, we hear the G and the G, D. We hear the G, D. We hear the G and the D is the strongest. So yes, the focus of the note changes. What's the most solid sound, or what's the more interesting sound? But the pitches don't change. So anyway, but yet they do when we see a chord. For example, this is not in the key. This is not in. This is using notes. How could a G sharp be in the key of G? It couldn't be. So anyway, all I'm getting at mostly is to say, notice that more or less, here's this pretty exotic, interesting sounding song that's more or less in just two scales, the G scale and the F scale. So that was a really cool sound. And like I said, if you want to listen to, you send me your email or send me an email, I'll send you one of those tracks, either the first one, Playola, or this one, Bossa Monsa. Okay, now we're through with ad-libbing. Now we're at the question to play and sing Q&A portion of our live stream tonight. And so we're at Q&A now. So yeah, I'm expecting those cues to come on pouring in so I can give the A's. And so today's Tuesday. So Sunday we had for my students we had the what season is this? We had the summer music seminars. And what I did is I took the top 15 questions that I've had in the last year, let's say 100 questions, or 100, maybe 200 questions, I don't know. And so I took the top questions and went over those answers, and I certainly enjoyed it, and it seemed to me that a lot of people were participating and interested, and I thought I would just look at a couple of those, and if anybody has a question, you need to dump it in there right there so I can do that. But I'm just trying to see. I'm just kind of scanning because there was a lot of really great questions, and actually I selected them, and again some of them were not necessarily my favorite questions, or even some of them weren't even what I would say is the most important questions, but it's the kind of things that people are asking all the time, like, can you develop perfect pitch, and how am I too old, am I too young, is my kid too young, how do I develop my own style, and questions like that, which again, I'm saying it like great questions and also very normal questions, So just I thought I'd grab a couple of them and just say them one more time, because once is never enough. So let's see, that's a Bond movie, isn't it? So okay, this is a great question. I think it's hilarious. Not hilarious, not like dumb hilarious, but this is like funny. So the first question was what's the easiest instrument to play? And the thing about it is that the instruments are self-adjusting. If an instrument is hard to play, then we don't expect it to play much. So if there was an instrument that involved dropping 100-pound rocks into a lake, that would be like, we wouldn't expect a glissando of 16th notes or 32nd notes. We would expect note, and that's a superb, virtuoso, another note, big huge guy, he's gonna grab another note. So I'm saying, so if an instrument is easy to play, it plays fast, and we expect it to play fast and a lot. And if it's hard to play, it plays slower, and we expect it to play slower. So I just said, and I gave an example of the bassoon, which has got like 10 keys for each thumb, and the harp, which uses a pedal on the floor for each letter name. All the A's, all the B's, all the C's, all the D's is controlled by that. So you could, if you make a C sharp, you make all the C's sharp. So a curse for a harpist is to play a chromatic scale. And so anyway, the point there is that those things adjust. So in a rock band, probably the easiest things are to play rhythm guitar and bass. Not that there aren't phenomenal Corey Wong level rhythm guitarists and rhythm ways to play, but you just want to get in the band, rhythm guitar and bass. And again, there's Victor Wooten, and there's Steve Bailey, a bunch of amazing people, Jaco Pastores, whoever. But you just when you get in the band, want to play rhythm guitar, bass. The hardest would probably be the keys or the lead guitar. Voice is not hard. It doesn't mean that there's not amazing vocalists that almost no one in the world can do what they do. But most things, the vocalist is singing what everybody knows. I don't mean it's lame or an easy job. I just mean it's not as hard necessarily as the lead guitar is trying to create a great solo. In the orchestra, concert band, things like the bassoon and the harp, like I said, are really hard to play. The saxophone is a very easy instrument to play, comparatively speaking, a logically laid out instrument, and because it's the youngest. And I'm thinking of the band, not the orchestra. And then in the choir, the soprano is the easiest part. Again, there's soprano parts that are incredible, but in general, it's the melody that everybody knows. And the alto part is when they run around and and stick them in all the parts, and they usually have parts like ah, da, 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 oh, oh, jumping around, filling in the harmonies. Now I'm skipping on purpose until I saw something. There's one. It's just the funny. It's like a joke question, and it is, how do you make money in music? You don't. I guess get rid of this picture. How do you make money in music? You don't. And people who make, including if you're thinking about it, you have to do multiple things. You have to teach. You have to play out. You don't have to do all of these things, but you have to teach. You may, if you're a professor at a university, you very likely might be teaching. I'm talking about private lessons to supplement your income as well. Not necessarily, but so you teach, you gig, you write, you get online, and I said, there's maybe 10,000 people in the world, the whole world, that live a life like Elton John or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. I'm talking about, we were successful for decades. We got all this money in the bank. If we go out and tour, we're packing out stadiums, and I'm saying they're living on performing. So I'm not talking about being a musician at this moment. I'm saying what everybody's picture is, hey, I want to be a musician. What's the best way to make money in music? I'm going to, be a famous musician. Well, you're going to be whatever that is, how many, thousandth of a percentage that is in the people in the world. And I wrote, I didn't say it in the seminar, I forgot, marry a rich person. That's a great way to do it. Actually, the two people that I know that practice as much as you imagine, or the way, there's always practice. One's married to a lawyer, one's married to a doctor. And so they're able to do that. That was a joke, but it's still true. So there's probably only about 10,000 people in the world that make their living from playing. That's all they do. I'm not saying, I'm just saying it, and the rule, as I was told in college, was if you can be happy doing anything else, you need to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to jump around. I'm leaving things out on purpose. Lots of great questions here. If any modes, I talked about modes. If anybody wants to ask me a question about modes right now, I'll answer that question, but I'm not going to get into it. But unless somebody ask me a question about modes, I'll explain modes. How do you pick a teacher? I'm skipping questions. This is question number 10 out of 15. I said, I want to say it again. It takes about, when you start taking lessons with somebody, it takes 3 to 6 months. I'm sorry. I don't like this. If I was going to a doctor or something, I would not be happy. I got to go see this guy 10 times before I find out if he knows what he's talking about. And for a teacher, music teacher, be longer than that, more times than that. So anyway, it's going to take 3 to 6 months to kind of find out if the guy knows what he's talking about, is changing you for the good. You're succeeding in his methods. You need. These are questions you would ask. Is he knowledgeable about your music, not music? And people are so trusting, and so. Just for example, when I went to, this is not about a teacher, but when I went to music school, and this is the story of almost everybody. I'd say 50% of people going to music school are going, I like rock, I like, whatever, I like pop, I'm going to music school to learn to be a musician. And when they get there, they discover we can only study, unless you're going to Berkeley, and that's not, Berkeley's a good school, nothing wrong with Berkeley, but Berkeley is by no means the top school in the country. So I'm saying, not talking about going to Juilliard, not talking about going to Curtis, I'm just saying, so you go to a good school, so you go to Berkeley, there's a couple of schools that are kind of maybe 5 schools, 10 schools, that you can go to get pop and rock. But you go to a normal music school, your friend Sally, who went to be a musician, she said, I want to sing Taylor Swift, and she goes to the music program, and she can only study classical voice and maybe jazz. And that made a little bit of sense 50 years ago when I did it, but it don't make no sense now, by the way. So anyway, so the question is the teacher knowledgeable about your music, what you want to play? Does your teacher believe you personally can succeed? Does it believe that you have got a future? And I don't mean that, I see stardom in you. I just mean, yeah, you could probably learn how to play some rock songs. Yeah, you could probably learn some country licks, like that. Yeah, I think you could, and I'm going to teach you that. That's what you're interested in. do you enjoy your lessons after a month or two? You know, so it's like in general pretty cool. Does your teacher know what you're doing? You know, does he know week to week what you're doing to keep up with it and add to what you're doing, and you're growing in what you're doing? Do they adjust to fit you? You know, do they adjust things? And you say, I don't like doing lead. I don't want to play lead anymore. And then they would say, well, okay, maybe they'd explain some stuff to you and try to get you to do it. But, you know, are they adjusting to you? Did they give you assignments, you know, and that, you know, I want you to come back and do this, and last week we did this, and let's do some more of this, and are they looking for progress from you? Okay, I'm going to skip here, and I'll just we'll think about how much is enough practice, and it really depends. This is a good sentence to remember. This sentence. Enough practice is the amount that produces the skill that you need for your music to learn at the rate you want to learn. So you have the right amount of practice is the amount that gets you to progress in your kind of music at the rate you want to progress at. Now that in general it's more than most people want to do, but that's the goal. It's like the goal, and what you should be doing is like, hey, you know, I'm playing jazz, and I'm playing classical, and I'm not just playing, you know, Haydn or something. I'm playing, you know, really complicated, difficult, you know, stuff, or I'm playing jazz. Intellectual is not the point. It's the premise is that part of the coolness of this is that it's hard and that it's involved. And that goes for classical and jazz and some progressive rock. So you're playing Dream Theater. You know, that's who I want to be. So if you're playing Dream Theater, most people are not going to be able to do that. And like, this is what I want to do. You're not going to be able to do that. You're playing, you know, you're playing Snarky Puppy, you know, which is not progressive rock, or kind of, but jazz rock or something. You're not going to be able to do it unless you're phenomenal, radically unusual person. You're not going to be able to do it unless you practice an hour to 2 hours a day. Not because you're a loser, but because you picked a hard kind of music. You play country music, and I love country music. It's all I listened to until I was 13. Didn't know there was other kind of music. In my town, country music and R&B. That's all I listened to. That's all there was to listen to. So anyway, point though is that so you say want to play country music, and it's like, well, you know, unless you're trying to play lead guitar, you could probably do that 30 minutes a day and do pretty good at that, you know. So I'm just saying, it depends on what you want to do. So now let's see, let's do one more question from here, and well, what do I do when I'm stuck and I don't seem to progress? I'm stuck and I don't seem to progress. So here's that's a good question. It really is. So first off, a lot of times when you're stuck, this is true, is that what's happening actually is that you've hit a difficult place. That is, you're trying to do difficult things. You're trying to learn how to play faster. You got a counting problem. You don't count well. You're behind. You're not listening. You know, you're sharp. You're flat. You can't hear the different chords. Things you've got going on, and you're fixing those things. But because there's like you're going in a river, and you hit this, log jam, and there's just all these things in the way, and so it's like you're making progress because you're like pushing these things out of the way. You're getting them. You're fixing them. Talking about musical, you're fixing these difficult things. But it's hard to somebody in the bank or you yourself go like, I've hardly moved, But my gosh, you're knocking out these big important problems. And in music, when you solve a problem, when you fix something, like you can now hear the 1 chord, you can now hear the 1 and the 5 chord. Well, that's going to make every song you ever play the rest of your life is going to be better. It's going to be easier for you to play. You be less tied to music. I'm giving an example out of hundreds of examples. So here's something that's very difficult for you to figure out. Maybe at first you're stuck, you couldn't do it, then suddenly you can do it, and wow, it's helped everything. So a lot of times when you don't feel like you're progressing, You are. It's just you've hit a knotty problem, and when you get that done, it's like it's not like this progress. It's like this sometimes. You know, you're working out something, and it seems like you're stopped, but then it's like, oh, got to figure it out. So another thing is when you're stuck, listen on the edge of your. Two things: listen to your favorite artists, great artists. Don't just go, this is cool, man, rocking out, yeah. You know, watch them perform live. Listen to what notes they're playing, how they're playing, their articulations, their fingerings, their approach, and let that inspire you and teach you. Like, I'm gonna do that. And another thing that's a great thing to do is listen to the edges of what you like. Like you like, again, the idea is you like this, and so listen to the stuff that's not you don't like. You do, yes, like it. But it's not like your usual thing. Like, oh, you know, what was it? You know, because that is new ideas to you, and that feeds you with new ideas. And then if you're stuck in a technical sense, like I can't play this lick or I can't play faster, you would devote more and more time to fixing that thing. And I mean that like, and here's the final sentence on it, is use as much time to fix that problem as it is worth to you. And I gave the example in the seminar of I love Travis Picking. Listening to Travis Picking, I think is really cool. It is not important enough to me to spend, I'm going to guess, several months, 15, 20 minutes, an hour or so a week. It's not important enough to me to learn to do that. Can I do it? Could I do it? Can I do it a little bit? Yes. Could I do it? Yes. It's not important. I don't mean it's not important. It's just not. It's not the way I usually play. So, I'm saying you're trying to do something. You're kind of stuck. What do you do? How much time do you give to it? If it's really important to you, you just start. You're just like your guns. It's like you start focusing more and more on it. I'm gonna get this. Unless you say, which is just fine. You say, this is not that important to me, or it's sort of middle. I'm gonna give this a middle amount of time. I'm gonna give it 10 minutes a day. And then I'm gonna see what happens after 6 months. See if it, and so you're adjusting the amount of time on it to fit how important it is to you. So, all right, now I believe there it is. So the last thing, which is not showing up and helping me here. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Okay. Well, I don't see it written, but it was a question somebody sent. So this is the last question, and it was, how do you know when a drummer is knocking at your door? How do you know when it's a drummer that's knocking on your door? Okay. How would we know if it's a drummer knocking on the door? Well, it keeps getting faster. See, if it's a drummer knocking on your door, it keeps getting faster. Okay, so you need to write that down and remember that. That's how, if you want to know who's knocking at your door, you're trying to eliminate things. If it doesn't get faster, it's not a drummer. Okay, well, I am Mark Black. This is Mark Teaches Music Channel, and Promethean Studios is both our website, dallasmusiclessons.com, and where I teach, or my teaching effort, and this is, the first half was Improv Workshop, and then this part, which is not a half, a little eighth or something, is to play and sing our Q&A, and every Tuesday at 7:45. And so again, if you're interested in getting one of these tracks, send me an email and tell me which one you want, and I'll send it to you. And like, subscribe, mail me bearer bonds, probably unmarked bearer bonds would be good, and let's see, hit notifications, share this, and get other people to come. And then seriously, if I were you, I would come and I would ask everything I could possibly think of, and I'd definitely come to the improv part and improvise. And it's what music is so cool and so exciting, and so I want you to be a part of it. So anyway, so thanks a lot for being here, and I hope to see you next week. And until I see you again, I want you to have fun.